As a result of that, Chas Symonds got the call at 1 o'clock today. He's fit and he's ready in the red and white shorts. Chas was due to be fighting at Bethnal Green next week and may well do today after this if he can come through well, but he got the late call, stepped up to the plate, and now we've got Glover, the Southern Area champion, against Symonds, and on paper there shouldn't be an awful lot in it, Duke.
It's a very even matchup, if you just already said, John, but this is a good start from Symonds, working behind a good jab, being nice and snappy with both hands. Just has to learn to have a little bit of caution. You won't want to punch yourself out.
Chas Symonds only with those 2 defeats on his record. He took 3 years out of the game after losing badly to Ross Minter back in 2005. Travelled the world, had what he described as a bit of a crisis of confidence, but he's back now, and as you say, he started well against Tom Glover, who's a bricklayer. That's his day job, but he hopes that he'll be able to clock up enough wins and move on in the game and move into full-time professional boxing. To do that, he needs to account for Symonds, who started really well.
The busier work rate is undoubtedly coming from Symonds, getting clipped once or twice.
Among those watching at ringside there on the far side, you see John Thaxton. Lost a couple of weeks ago his European lightweight title, and came round and said to me just a few minutes ago how he would love to have another crack at that crown. Maybe John Murray's got different thoughts about that. I'm sure he'd like a go as well.
The lightweight division very good at the moment. Back to more important matters, the fight in hand. Symonds doing a nice job, steady boxing, a little bit of messing around, holding on the blind side of the referee.
Tom Glover beat Scott Wilford to win the Southern Area title. Comes from Malden, trains in Colchester, and he's got a fair amount of support in this Birmingham auditorium. Good work rate from Symonds.
The question remains, can he keep it up? He will need to secure victory. Glover landing the heavier punches, I think.
Well, it's an interesting opening period. John Keane, the referee, having pretty well nothing to do. So Tom Glover, who's got the most of the support, slightly heavier built fighter in the navy blue and silver shorts. Not too much between them. Could really develop into an interesting fight, this one. Glover, who's been sparring with John Thaxton in the run-up to Thaxton's European title fight. Symonds, I know, has worked with you in the past, Duke.
Yeah, he's boxed with me down at the Jukebox Fitness Academy in Croydon. Came over, worked on a few moves when he was in between trainers. Not a little bit undecided about what he wanted to do. Seems to have found himself at the moment, though. Boxing quite intelligently. As I said before, got clipped with a big right hand there by Glover. Didn't like it.
Took time out, didn't he, after that Ross Minter defeat? Wanted just to think a bit about whether or not he had a future in the sport.
Oh yeah, just needed to just find out where he was going, if indeed he had a future. But he's back here now. Was in preparation for a fight, as you already said, John, due to fight next week, I believe. So he's in shape.
Actually coming on to this contest on the back of a defeat. Lost a little bit surprisingly against the Pole Tomasz Grublas. That was back in November. Glover, who's only won 2 of his last 7 contests.
Well, Symonds will need to keep his concentration and not lose heart, because he's thrown a lot of punches again. But when he gets clipped with a punch, he looks a little bit sorry for himself. As you just saw there. And he wants to hold straight away.
Working the way out of those clinches, though, so far. John Keane has not had too much to do apart from give his verdict, who he thought won the opening period.
That's a good right hand there by Symonds, really trying to drill that punch home.
I was going to say, from my way of looking at it, Symonds is just showing the greater ring craft at the moment. It's the strength, determination of Glover. He just looks maybe the slightly heavier-handed man.
Yeah, he's soaking up a lot of punishment, though, Glover. Ploughing forward, but eating a lot of right hands.
Another closely fought round. Couple going very low there from Symonds. That was not marginal. Low blows from Symonds just before the break, Duke.
Probably a little bit of gamesmanship, I think, involved with that, where he's concerned.
Faster hands, hasn't he, Symonds?
He does. He has a better variety of punch, slightly better footwork. Nice little in and out move there by Symonds with the feet. Just starting to loosen up a little bit now is Symonds.
We saw him when he arrived a couple of hours ago. He was full of it, wasn't he?
Absolutely.
Said, yeah, I only got the call at 1 o'clock for this fight, but I'm ready and I'm going to make a real good fist of it.
Well, he's outworking Glover quite constantly. Glover's ploughing forward and trying to cut the ring down, but he just seems to be one punch or two behind.
Very different fight for Tom Glover this would have been than if he'd fought Omar for the for the English title, who's a fairly typical sort of Ingle gym schooled fighter, a little bit awkward, a bit elusive. Symonds, for all his angles and variety of punches, is an altogether more orthodox sort of figure.
It's just as well Symonds isn't a big puncher. Glover would have been in trouble by now. What Glover's content on doing is just following Symonds. He's not cutting the ring off. Symonds, sorry. He's not cutting the ring off quick enough and getting his hands working.
That's good. Good, accurate combination, but that's a solid right hand from Glover, and that's the sort of shot which can equal matters. Symonds really landed a good, solid right hand. Glover. Symonds taking a solid one, and another.
Well, Glover has to really get to the races and get both hands working. You know, try and tire Symonds out with punches, as opposed to just leaning on and tracking him. Good body shot by Glover.
Just got the impression before he landed that big shot, that big right hand to the head, that Glover just looked as though he was losing heart a little bit, but that's revived his interest in the fight.
Absolutely. He needed that.
It's a good shot, good quality shot from Symonds, and you heard the acknowledgement from his corner. Timed it beautifully.
I suppose the good thing is in this fight, as the pace starts to flow, both boxers are going to land a lot more freely.
It's a big left hand from Glover.
Symonds has put a lot of work into this round.
Symonds landing the more punches, Glover with the greater power. Another good round. Nice show opener, this one.